Would you like to learn how to deal with your insecurities? Then stay tuned, because that's what today's talk is all about. Hello everyone, this is Salik and welcome to another episode of the Growth Philosophy Podcast, a bite-sized weekly podcast focused on empowering you to think better and upgrade your life. So let's talk today about insecurities. The insecurities we have are a major cause for our unhappiness. We all have them, and often people go through their whole lives suffering because of their insecurities. The insecurities are a major blight of our mind. Our insecurities are one of the biggest reasons why we struggle in life and struggle to be happy. They are a major source of unhappiness. Now, even though we all have them, some know how to deal with them so that they don't become nightmares, but most people suffer because of these insecurities, often to the point where their lives become a living hell. So for some, it's not all-encompassing, but for many, it takes over their lives. Insecurities are a major pain in the ass, to say the least. And there is no universal insecurity either. Insecurities come in many shapes and forms. They are as unique and as individual as you are, even though there are common ones like being overweight. Different people usually will have different insecurities, so your insecurities might be very different from the person next to you, and so on and so forth. So insecurities are there. Most, if not everyone, has them. And they are very different from people to people. So where do these insecurities come from? The insecurities that we have, the seeds of our insecurities germinate during our formative years mostly. Maybe someone said something to you, or you saw or heard something that left a deep mark in your psyche. The seeds are usually planted while we are growing up, at a young age and often without us noticing it, and they grow as we grow. But that's not to say that we cannot develop them later on in life. We absolutely can. We can form insecurities later on in life, even as adults. And the insecurities, the problem with them is that they sometimes can grow so much that they can completely take over your life, to the point where you can't help but think about them all day long. To the point where your life revolves around your insecurities. And that is not a good place to be in. That is not a good quality of life. That's not really a place where you want to be in, but where you're worrying about things, about these insecurities, and it's causing you stress and anxiety and unhappiness. It's just a really bad place to be in. So it is a bad place, and there is good news. You don't have to let it take over your life. Your insecurities do not have to become a bottomless pit of despair. There is light at the end of the tunnel. You do have options. You do have ways you can deal with them, and maybe even get rid of them completely. Want to learn how? Well, here I will lay out 3 strategies that you can use to help you deal with your insecurities. Here's the first one. Strategy number 1. Name your insecurities. Dealing with your insecurities starts by acknowledging them. Because at the end of the day, you can't deal with a problem that you don't even know about. Make sense? So how do you shed light on something that you might not even know about? You might be wondering. Now, to help you with that, you need to ask yourself questions. Asking yourself questions is a great way to find out what your insecurities are. Questions like this. What about your body would you wish to be different, or would you want to change? A question like that might get you to respond with something like your weight, or something else. Weight is usually the most common one. For you, it might not be your weight. Maybe it is something different. So that's just an example, of course. So here is another example question you can ask. You can ask yourself if there is something or anything about yourself that you feel sensitive or even ashamed about. Basically, ask yourself questions to find out what causes you to feel bad about yourself. Whatever it is, find out by asking yourself questions. That's how you can figure out what your insecurities are if you don't know them. And once you realize what they are, name your insecurities, because that is crucial for dealing with them. Once you have named it, often it will become obvious right away that it is nothing for you to feel bad about, which then takes away its power. So figure out what your insecurities are and acknowledge them. Name them, call them out. So that's the first strategy, and that can be a great way for you to deal with your insecurities. Now, you might have insecurities that you already know about, and they are still there. So you know about them, but they're still there. So in that case, the first strategy might not help you to deal with them. So what can you do? Well, that's where the second and the third strategies can help. And here's the second strategy. Expose them. Expose your insecurities. Insecurities are a lot like roaches. Those pesky insects? They hide where you can't see them. But in order to deal with them, you have to shed light on them. And in the same way, shedding light on your insecurities and exposing them to others is one of the best ways to get over them. The more your insecurities are exposed, the more they are out in the open for others to see, the easier it will be for you to get over them. It'll be easier for you to get over them because over time, it'll become normal for you to deal with. You'll sort of become desensitized to it. This reminds me of a friend of mine. This friend of mine, she used to be really insecure about her ears and would always hide them up using her hair, even though there was actually nothing wrong with them. So I challenged her one time. I suggested that she go a week, just a week, without covering her ears and see what happened. You know what happened? Nothing. No one thought she was hideous, which was her main worry, and she did not feel as terrible as she thought she would. The more she exposed her insecurities and talked with others about it, the more she actually realized that others did not see it as a problem. So giving yourself that little push might be just what you need. Giving yourself a little push out of your comfort zone to expose your insecurities can be a great way to nullify their hold on you. So try that. Now here's another strategy, the third strategy for you to help deal with your insecurities. And that's to get perspective. Get perspective. What does that mean? Getting perspective is about realizing what it is and it isn't. Exposing your insecurities is in fact a great way to get perspective, as it can give you factual information on just how unfounded your worries are. Like how my friend found out that people really did not feel the same way as she did about her ears. So, for instance, you might think you're not beach body ready and that people will judge you if you go to the beach. But if you push yourself and go to the beach, you can find out just how little your worries actually mattered. Realizing just how little people care can be a great way to see how just little your worries were warranted. Not that you really should rely on what others think, but most securities are based on what others might think about you, so getting that perspective, realizing that people don't really care half as much, if at all, about your insecurities can be just what you need to overcome your insecurities. So get that perspective. Now, when you apply one or more of these strategies to your insecurities and do so consistently, you will start to get a handle on them. I'm not speculating, try them out. I am certain that it will help. But like anything in life, it won't happen overnight. You will have to keep at it. You will have to keep applying these strategies to get back control of your life from the clutches of your insecurities. So don't expect overnight remedies. These insecurities probably will have been with you for many, many years, and they won't go away overnight. So stop expecting miracles and try applying them consistently, and they will work. And here's one more thing I want you to understand. The insecurities you have, more often than not, are completely unwarranted. In the majority of the cases, the issue in question is nothing more than your worries about what others might think about you, which is why the strategies that I talked about earlier can work quite well in helping you deal with your insecurities, if not completely deal with, get rid of them. Now that said, if the issue is something that can negatively impact you, namely negatively impact your health, then do something about it. Do something about it, not because of what others will say about you, but because of how it will help you and improve your quality of life if you do. So, say for example, you're a bit overweight. So, you need to address that, lose that extra weight, not because it's important in terms of what others think of you, but because being overweight is bad for your health and can cause lots of health issues and discomfort in the long term. So it's just not good for you. And as such, it warrants looking into. Looking after yourself is important after all. Now on that note, looking after yourself isn't just about your physical health. It includes looking after your mental health as well. Don't let your insecurities get in the way of your happiness and your peace of mind. More often than not, they are completely baseless worries, because others don't care nearly as much as they think you do. No one really cares. They don't really have the time to. They're probably battling their own insecurities, right? So people are probably too busy dealing with their own insecurities to worry about yours. So stop worrying about what others think. And even if they did, even if others actually bothered or cared about your insecurity, here's what you need to realize. It doesn't really matter what others think about the things that you're insecure about. What others think at the end of the day is their business. It's not yours. Mind your own business and take care of yourself. That's your business. So mind your business. And improving your mindset will help you to get on that page. Improving your mindset will help you to take care of yourself, rather than focusing on external sources. Now, on that note, if you want to learn more about improving your mindset, check out the past episodes of this podcast. There's quite a bit of resource there by now. I also have a book on this topic that can help. You can find the link for it in the description. As for today's topic, insecurities, here's the bottom line. Here's what I'd really like you to take away from this talk. If the thing you're insecure about is a legitimate issue, do something about it. Like if the issue was about being overweight. So for dealing with the extra weight, you can do things like start working out and cut down on junk food and so on. So if it's a legitimate issue, deal with it. If it can negatively impact your health, do something about it. If you can't do anything about it, or if it is not a genuine issue to be concerned about, if it's a baseless issue that you're basically worried about because you're worried what others might think, then stop wasting your time and energy on it. Stop focusing on this issue and move on, because it is not worth losing your sleep over. And to help you move on, try applying those 3 strategies. But whatever you do, do not let your insecurities rule over your life. And now you have no excuse, because you have just learned of 3 strategies that can help you get started with dealing with your insecurities. So get on that. Apply what you have learned today and get started with dealing with your insecurities. The sooner you start, the sooner you face them, the better. Will it be easy? No. It will not be easy at all, as often our insecurities are deeply entrenched, but it absolutely can be done. I've done it, and many others have too, so you can do it too. Your insecurities, they do not define who you are. You are far more than your insecurities, and you have it in you to deal with your insecurities and overcome them. You can get rid of them from your life. I hope you found today's talk useful. Like and subscribe if you found value in today's talk. Subscribing will get you notified when I publish new episodes. which makes your life easier rather than having to try and remember to come back here next week. So subscribe if you haven't already. Also, I highly recommend that you check out the past episodes, as they can be great resources for you to help you improve your mindset and your life. With that said, I'll catch you again next week. Thank you for being here. And until next week, have a great week, and remember, think better to upgrade your life.